The Gifts of the Spirit, number 195. Presence of God. O Holy Spirit, develop your gifts in me so that I may respond generously to your divine motions. Meditation. We have already seen that it is impossible to arrive at perfect union with God, at sanctity, without the help of the Holy Spirit. This help is not reserved for privileged souls. It is offered to every Christian. In fact, each soul receives at baptism, together with sanctifying grace, the infused virtues and the gifts of the Holy Spirit. The infused virtues are supernatural principles of activity, whereby we are enabled to act virtuously from a supernatural rather than from human point of view. Thus, we can perform meritorious acts and apply ourselves actively to the acquisition of holiness. The gifts, on the other hand, are supernatural principles, permanent dispositions with which God has enriched our faculties. They prepare and enable us to receive the help of the Holy Spirit, to recognize His inspirations and follow them. St. Thomas compares them to the sails of a boat. Just as the ship, by means of its sails, can be driven by the wind, so our souls, by means of the gifts, have the capacity to be moved and directed by the Holy Spirit. If a mariner sets the sails on his boat, he intends to move it not only by rowing, but also by the force of the wind. In like manner, when God infuses the gifts of the Holy Spirit into our souls, He wishes them to advance, not alone by an active practice of the virtues, but also by the intervention of the Holy Spirit. And while the sailor can hoist the sails on his ship, but cannot stir up a breath of wind, God, on the contrary, has not only bestowed on us the gifts of the Holy Spirit, but He also has the power to put them into action, and as He wills. The very fact that God has willed to put the gifts into our spiritual organism, it is the most evident proof that He wishes to intervene in the work of our sanctification and to grant us the help of the Holy Spirit. The Encyclical Divinum Illud teaches, the just man, who is already living the life of grace and acting with the aid of virtues, needs these 7 gifts which are rightly attributed to the Holy Spirit. By means of them, man becomes both more docile and stronger in following the greater readiness and promptness of the divine impulse. This divine impulse is nothing but the inspiration and motion of the Holy Spirit. Now man, though by his very nature endowed with the keenest intellect and possessing goodwill, is incapable of understanding and following this impulse. The sensual man, says St. Paul, perceiveth not these things that are of the Spirit of God, for it is foolishness to him, and he cannot understand. 1 Corinthians 2:14. See then how the gifts of the Holy Spirit have been given us precisely to make us aware of this divine impulse. Without them, we could not receive the motions of the Holy Spirit. This fact should deepen our understanding of the great value of these gifts, and hence of the importance of their growth in us in all their plenitude. In fact, the gifts we have received as a seed at baptism are intended, like sanctifying grace and infused virtues, to grow and develop until we die. It is very consoling thought that, due to the profound unity of our supernatural organism, grace, the virtues, and the gifts increase simultaneously with and in proportion to the growth of charity. If we want the gifts to be fully developed in our soul, we must practice charity constantly, for with every advance in divine love, there will be a corresponding new development of the gifts. They are the sails of the soul, But these sails can be let down, weighted by our egoism, our self-love, and attachments to ourselves and creatures. Charity, on the contrary, frees them from every impediment and turns them toward the gentle breeze of the Holy Spirit. The more open and full the sails are, the better they will be able to receive the least impulse of the divine Paraclete. Colloquy. I behold you, O God, Father, Word, and Spirit, and I know you are looking for your creature with sovereign wisdom and eternal goodness, so that it seems that you have no glory or pleasure except in your creature who is yet so vile. Your Spirit is the love by which you try to attract him, and his heart, which receives this Spirit, is like the bush that Moses saw, burning but not consumed. With supreme purity, it burns with the desire that God may never be offended, and is consumed with the desire that God be honored, although it does not seem to be consumed. Come, come, Holy Spirit, calm union of the Father, contentment of the Word, glory of the angels. O Spirit of truth, you are the reward of the saints, the refreshment of souls, light in darkness, wealth of the poor, treasure of those who love, abundance of food for the hungry, comfort of pilgrims, and in a word, the one who contains all treasures. O Holy Spirit, with everlasting wisdom, you gently urge rational creatures who want to receive your gifts, but you do not take away their liberty. You knock at all hearts, but you knock gently, urging each one to prepare to receive these gifts. Softly singing, you are the source of sweet tears. Rejoicing and lamenting, you strive ardently that everyone may be disposed to receive you. May the intellect admire, the will and memory understand your immense goodness, O Holy Spirit. In infusing yourself and all your gifts into the soul, O Spirit proceeding from the Father and the Word, you infuse yourself into the soul so gently that it does not understand you, and not being understood, your ineffable gift is esteemed by few. Yet besides your goodness, you infuse into the soul the power of the Father and the wisdom of the Son. The soul, having thus become powerful and wise, is made fit to bear you within itself as a sweet guest, cherishing you, that is, behaving in such a way that you take pleasure in it and do not leave it. St. Mary Magdalen de Pazzi. God bless.